Hey guys, Dr. Pete here, and today we're with Carol, who is has been a patient of mine since
2006.
2006. So this is 2021, so that's a long time. And what we hope to do in this video is just share a bit of like what can someone get out of being under chiropractic care for time as they go through the ups and downs of life, and what the value of that could be for you if you're watching, if you're not experiencing that right now. So we'll start with Carol. Just when we first met back in 2006, why don't you share what was going on at that time?
I was in recovery from a really serious car accident. So I'd been told basically that I'd probably never walk comfortably again. You know, there were a lot of nevers, and this is really bad, etc. And my attitude from the beginning, the damage was around my tailbone and all through my lower back. And for weeks and months, it was difficult for me to sit at all. So I was beginning to slowly recover from that, getting around, walking a bit, getting some of my stamina back, and recognizing that I needed to add to my own resources of physiotherapy and understanding how the body works, etc., regular chiropractic.
Yeah.
So I literally limped all over Burlington because we had just moved from the East End downtown to find the right chiropractor, right? And I remember it was a Saturday, and I noticed the sign for your office. And I thought, oh, well, there's no way they're going to be there on a Saturday, but I'll just walk in and just like see if there's information I can take. And I peeked through the door, and there was this young man sitting there at the desk, and he looked up and waved at me, and I waved and said, I know it's Saturday, blah, 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 don't worry. And you came to the door and said, no, I'm Dr. Pete, welcome, come on in, how can I help you? And that was the beginning of the relationship.
I do remember it. I'm at my old office. I do remember that. Yeah. And so we worked together for a while, obviously on the problems with the accident.
Yeah.
And something I'll put in here that if you watched the videos, you know that there's a lot we can do with sort of time and following a plan. So, and I think more and more research, I was just reading a paper the other day about how the cells of the body can change as we change what we are doing with it or to it. But that process takes months or even years. But if you kind of start down that road, you can really, no matter your age, you can really make some remarkable improvements. So, we worked together, and we kind of got you to more of a stable state, or we could almost say like a maintenance phase where you're coming in and we're just keeping things moving. And then we did that for a number of years. And by the way, another thing I want to mention here is that keeping things, if we're talking about even joints of the body, spinal joints, hip joints, shoulder joints, as we age, keeping them moving, keeping them from deteriorating is extremely valuable, because chiropractors, we want to be heroes and we want to fix everything and make it the best way possible, and we try to do that. But keeping things from deteriorating is really valuable.
Yeah,
too.
And the other part of the process is that from our first conversation, I recognized that you were someone that I could have an intelligent collaboration with around my own desires for complete health, because I came with an attitude of, I'm going to overcome all of those, this isn't going to be better, because I knew from my own background and work in a collaborative health practice that the body wants to heal itself. So you give it every opportunity to do that, and it works with you. So I loved that approach, because my attitude was not, well, I'm going to go to Dr. Pete and he's going to fix me. Yeah. And in 2 months I'll be better. It was, this is someone with whom I can work, which will be, in a sense, a regular sounding board, a regular check on how things are going. I valued the fact that the very first thing you did at my very first assessment was to order x-rays, so that you could take a look and you could show me where things were then in terms of my spine, in terms of my posture, all of that has changed dramatically
Yeah.
since 2006.
Yeah, and you bring up also, the collaborative element, and that's part of that might be like, okay, a person is seeing multiple healthcare providers. They're seeing a chiropractor, a physio, a psychologist, all of which is adding to their, their well-being. But that other part of the collaboration is you being the patient. Like, what do you bring to the table physically? Are you going to stay active and do exercises and rest when needed?
Yeah. You've got to be the responsible center for your own progress.
Absolutely.
That no family physician, no specialist can do that for you.
Right.
So it's attitude combined with
Yes.
craft and medical health.
Well, that's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
Is the other part is you had the attitude that, I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
So when you have that attitude, then you tend to attract people that will help you along that journey. But that's an ingredient that you have to supply, and you did supply, which is wonderful. And then as you went through life, all is going well. But you had a little bump in the journey last year. So why don't you
just when COVID
talk about
started? That? Well, I fell, and we won't go into details, but I fell on my back on concrete and fractured my pelvis in 4 separate places on the right-hand side, and was raced off to Joe Brandt, where I spent 2 months.
Yeah, wow.
And it was an interesting process during COVID. It was very isolating, and it also probably, if I compare it to where I was after the car accident, which was incredibly painful, it was likely the most challenging pain that I've ever had to endure and work through. But my attitude was the same. Well, first of all, I'd had some good experience in recovery before. So I understood that you had to get going and apply the same principles. So this is where I am now. I can't move. There's no weight bearing. I'm in pain, blah, 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 blah. What can I do incrementally day to day with the team of people who approach me, which included, ward doctors and nurses and so on, and especially the physiotherapy team at Joe Brandt in rehab, who were stunning, amazing people. But I was willing, every step of the way to say to them, here's where I am today, what do you need me to do? Oh, try to lift my foot? Okay, that's what I'm going to be working on until I can do it.
That's
and
excellent.
Then it's lift the knee and whatever. So
Yeah.
Again, it's
the attitude.
You phoned me and we had a conversation. I was probably pretty drugged at that time,
You
but
still were.
I
You
hopefully
made sense.
was articulate.
You were.
And I said, Pete, as soon as I'm out of here, I'll be coming back to see you. And so, that was May of 2020, and this is now October of 2021. And I go about my business in the world, and people say to me, oh my gosh, you look amazing. You're walking fine. You're not limping. How did you do this? And I said, well, I did what was required consistently with all the support I could get so that my body could heal itself. This was not something that surgery could have fixed.
Right.
So it was time, patience, me putting in the work.
Yep.
And me collaborating with others when I reached a roadblock or had to back off a bit. And then, coming back here. And again, it was once a week, for
Getting
a
you
long
back,
time. And now we're on alternate weeks because it's better. And so, but Pete, I'm sure the whole rest of my body at that time when this accident happened was in the best shape it had been in years.
Yeah.
Because of all of the things that we had done together. So therefore, you
can bounce back.
Yeah.
Oh, wonderful. So with a pelvis fracture or pelvis injury, one of the things that we've been really, again, reestablishing and maintaining is the function of Carol's hips. So part of that is happening with what I'm doing in the office, and part of it is
what I'm doing consistently at home.
Absolutely, which is critical to have both of those approaches going. So what you'll see here, just relax your leg here, Carol. You'll see that one of the things that we do are I can move the patient's hips passively. So I'm, as the doctor, putting the forces in this case, get that hip rotating as much as it can. So again, maintaining that. When you move, people might not be aware, but when you make a joint move, It moves the fluid in the joint. It can pump it into the cartilage, bringing nutrition into the cartilage. Cartilage just has a minimal blood supply. So this type of work can be really powerful for joints to get and stay healthy. So, and then if you're doing home exercises, you're putting in the forces, but in both cases, that includes movement into tissues, movement of joints through as much of their range of motion as is possible. And that again will go a long way to recovering motion and maintaining it, because you probably don't plan on giving up things like walking and gardening anytime soon.
I definitely don't.
Oh, excellent. So, of course, chiropractically, we want to look at the contribution that the spine has to the health of the body and the health of things like shoulders and hips and so forth. So, Carol always has. We are always working on her neck, again, to keep it moving. What I'm doing right now is called mobilization. So it's sort of gently moving the segments of the spine from side to side, and then I come underneath and I'm pulling on the posterior parts of the neck tissues to lengthen them. And this is, how does it feel?
Fabulous. It's one of my favorite things.
It feels really good. It's good for you.
I can feel the energy release
Beautiful.
when you do that.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And this is something that we always include as part of your visits. And, you know, if you've seen my videos or other chiropractors' videos, you might think, okay, well, how, you know, every adjustment is the by hand sort of cracking type of maneuver. And that's one way to do it, but there's many other ways. This is called the mobilization. It's more gentle. So if we have patients that are in a lot of pain, that might have osteopenia, osteoporosis, we're going to vary the amount of force we use, the technique we use, so that it's safe, effective, and comfortable for them. Well, thanks so much for sharing your story, Carol. I think our viewers are going to find it really useful and perhaps be able to relate to it. Anything you want to share just as we wrap up here?
No, just to say that I want to be incredibly encouraging to people to seek out the level of ongoing professional support that they need to continue to, enhance, enrich, grow their lives in all kinds of ways. And I'm delighted that I found you.
Well, I'm delighted that we get to work together. I really appreciate that opportunity. And that is a great point that you bring up, because, think about other areas of life. People get help, financial planners. If you're going to buy a house, usually you don't do it alone. Chiropractors, physios, massage therapists, psychologists. I might be forgetting someone, but being proactive with that type of care to get your body working better and keep it that way, it really can go a long way to a longer life, a better life, and better quality of life throughout the ups and downs and different things that may or may not happen. So thanks for sharing. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like, subscribe, and we will see you on the next video.